Hey there guys, this is Boots and Bounty Homestead and my name is Casey and I'm doing something today that I usually do not do. But it is a new year, it is a new homestead. So what I kind of had in mind is I want to not really show you guys what I have kind of thing, but I want this to be more of a record of what we start off with at our new homestead and what we are going to progressively change, what we can add to our stock and supplies, and just show you kind of how I function, because you guys watch us and see, you know, us doing a lot of cooking videos. In the past we've done a lot of gardening videos, a lot of preservation videos. So I want you to kind of see how we kind of function, or how I function in the kitchen and in the pantry. So I'm actually going to do my first official pantry tour. This is my third year or starting my third year of doing YouTube, and I've never actually done a official pantry tour because I've been so on edge about sharing what we have, because there's so many scare tactics out there about people raiding homes and all that, and I don't want that to be an issue. So what I want this to be is kind of a starting point this year for what we just moved, what we just unpacked. This is what we have accumulated over the last couple of years at our last homestead and from my parents' homestead. So this is the pantry we are starting out with this year, and some ideas on what we are going to be doing a little bit different inside the pantry, what we're going to be adding to it this year, and the videos for those will be coming up soon. But first of all, I want to start inside the kitchen. Like I said, I want you guys to see kind of how I function, because if you've been following us, you know the pantry is actually outside in our shed. Those videos will be coming up sometime around this video, to where we show you how we converted a shed into a pantry sewing room. And so be on the lookout for those. But I want to start here in the kitchen to show you what I have on hand at all times and why I have these items inside. So over here, this is my stove area where I do all of my cooking and everything. But this is a huge cabinet that we have inside the house. And this is where I kind of keep odd and end stuff. And I'll show you what I've got. I kind of have like the most used items, such as, you know, we usually have popcorn every day, every other day, something like that in the afternoons. This is where I store my honey and molasses and maple syrup. Some of my onion soup mixes, some of my grab and go cans, some sandwich bags that we use, and just a couple of cake mixes. I usually make them from scratch, but I have just a couple of grab and go cake mixes just in case. A small bag of cornmeal, my baking soda, my rice wine vinegars. And then I've got some of my bigger up here at the top. You guys can't see. Right up here, I have my big containers of spices that I use quite a bit. Or these are containers that stuff I don't grow, and stuff that I use to make other mixes, such as my dry taco mixes and my cream of everything soup mixes and stuff like that. That's where I keep my big bulk spices up here at the top. And it's at the top because I'm so short, it doesn't matter if I can reach it or not, because I don't use them all the time. So, and then I have like a box of some pre-made mixes that I'm sure they're all expired because I never use them. And then I have just a box of random birthday candles and such like that. So this is just my, my stash to keep, my one-offs, my everyday grab and go kind of items, just right here inside my kitchen. Now, I do have right here, I do have a couple of plastic airtight containers that I don't really have a whole lot that I use in them, such as there's a couple of noodles, couple of brown rice, some yeast, powdered sugar. This is not just an all the time everyday use kind of thing. Because I'm still trying to figure out where everything is going. This is just where they've landed because it kind of looks pretty right there. So that's just a couple of items that I have just sitting there temporarily until I can find their permanent home. Now, one more storage place I wanted to show you guys is up here where I can't reach. This is kind of my noodle container cabinet. But of course, I can't eat a whole lot of these noodles because they are white flour noodles, so I can't eat them. I make a lot of our einkorn pastas from scratch. These will be pastas that will be used in foods for other people, or stuff that my kids will eat, or something that I'm giving to somebody else. So I have to keep these noodles up here just out of reach, but inside the kitchen in case I need them. And then I have a couple of baking supplies over here, some baking chocolates and such like that. And that's where I use a lot of my Christmas goodies, almond barks and stuff like that, or some of my chocolates throughout the year. Now, one more place I keep some of my items are right here. Now, this is a very small cabinet. I keep a lot of my baking powders, my cornstarches, cocoa powders, and any of my store-bought spices. I don't have many of them. It's probably 10 or 15 in here. I don't use a whole lot of store-bought spices. I try to make or grow as much as I can myself, or like you've seen over there, I buy them in bulk, so I have the bigger containers. These will just kind of be my one-offs that I don't use a whole lot, but I do need them occasionally. So this is just my spice cabinet. I keep toothpicks, my labels, the labels that I put on my jars. These labels here that I have mentioned before, I use these chalkboard labels to write on my jars. And if you remember, I believe back on our Homesteading 101 video that we did, I use a fabric pencil to write on them instead of chalkboard chalk, because if you rub over chalk, it comes off. These white fabric pencils will write on them, and you will have to take water and scrub it to get it off. So if it's something that's going to be reusable or handled a lot, it's not going to smear, it's not going to smudge. So just want to throw that little tidbit in there. One other thing you'll see in my kitchen are these jars sitting along my top cabinets. Yes, ideally you want all of your canned items or jarred items such as those to be stored in cool, dark places. Well, as you see, they're high and heat rises, so of course it's not the best place to store them. But I don't have any more cabinet space, and I don't have anywhere else to put them as of yet. Like I said, we just got our pantry set up 2 days ago when I'm videoing this, so I'm still trying to find where everything is going to settle. Well, up there I have some of my tinctures that are brewing. I do have some dried herbs up there, but that's not going to be their final resting place. So don't judge me on that. It's a work in progress here. I have some of my vinegars back there in the back corner. I've got some of my cleaning products up there, which again is some of my vinegars. And then right behind you, right up there, I have things like brown sugars and some more tinctures and just some extra storage. So basically right above you guys is just a small shelf of other things that I have stored. Now that I have all of the tiny minimal storage shown to you in my kitchen, I'm going to show you kind of a second pantry where I know you're wondering where is all your flours and your sugars and all that good stuff. So let me show you that real quick. So inside some of the other videos, you might have noticed we had some 5-gallon buckets sitting right there. And I want to show you guys where those actually went. Now, in my other pantry at the other homestead, you seen I had the red square containers like this from Sam's. I had those that I used, and sometimes you'll see those in my cooking videos. Well, I downsized what I could, because once I found my containers, then I could downsize from the 5-gallon buckets and keep the small ones inside the house and move the 5-gallon buckets out to the shed. So this is where they are, and we are inside my bathroom. So right here off the kitchen, we have this shelf, and you know, this bathroom is just a half bathroom, so it wasn't like I'm trying to store towels for showers and stuff like that. So I do have a few towels up here, but the rest of it was being unused. And so this is where I put my flours, my oatmeal, and some small canned one-off items that I will probably use pretty quickly. I kept these in here for the kids. I don't eat those. Potted meat just for a quick snack, which I very rarely eat that. Mackerel, I plan on having this week. That's why that's in here. And then just some kind of quick grab, cream of chickens, cream of mushrooms that I hardly ever use. But again, I usually make those for food items that are actually going to other people, because as you know, most of the things that you make at home can sometimes be more expensive, especially like the einkorn flour I use, or it just takes longer, and sometimes you need those quick throw together meals, which is why I keep those on hand. But I very rarely use them for our meals, but I do have them, and it's just right here ready to grab. Okay, so now that you guys have seen my inside kitchen working pantry, I'm going to take you outside to the new pantry. Now, you're going to see the transformation of how this came about in the full shed. It wasn't really a renovation, but a beginning to end shed video. You'll see how the pantry evolved. And then I'm going to show you now, since we just got everything moved into the pantry and set up, we had to clean all of the jars, we had to set up all the shelves, unload everything, and I think we're still missing a few boxes, but that's okay. I should have everything out there that I have canned and preserved already. So let's take a walk out there and see what all is in the pantry. All right, it is a very beautiful sunny day out here today. And there go some squirrels. I think they scared me. Anyways, we're going in the shed here. And it's actually colder in the shed than it is outside because this thing is so well insulated. Right back here, I've got this all, got a curtain up to keep it insulated a little bit better. Since the freezers are in there, they're actually going to keep that room a little bit warmer than it is out here. This is my sewing room side. This is my pantry side. So let me turn the light on because it's kind of dark in there. All right, let me pull the curtain back. Okay, so here we have my pantry in all of its glory. So I will show you some of the items that we have. Go through them here with you. Okay, so the first thing I have over here, this is my fruit shelf. This is where I have all of my jams and jellies and preserves and everything everybody has given me. And then up here is my cabbages. So I have kraut, cabbage soup, and this is quarts, and this is pints. And then I have some red cabbage slaw and coleslaw down here. This is my miscellaneous shelf. This is where I have my watermelon jellies, watermelon rind preserves, strawberries, raspberries, more watermelon, muscadine, just all kinds of miscellaneous items that I don't really need a shelf for. Whereas down here I have stuff that's not labeled. This is my apple shelf. So I have apple jellies, apple sauces, apple butters, apple juice, and more apple sauces down here. So this is all of my pint and half pint shelf for apples. This is my peach shelf, which I have peach preserves of different white and yellow varieties. I have my peach butters, peach jams, peach juice, peach jelly. That's what I have on this shelf. So down here I have a peach shelf, and I have I have a pear shelf. This has my pear jellies, pear preserves, pear sauces, and stuff like that. This is where I think I'm kind of missing a few things, because on this side of the shelf it's kind of empty, and I'm still looking for jars. Over here I've got my oranges and my grapes. So this is kind of another miscellaneous shelf that I should have some more somewhere. If not, I'll be making some more this year. Then we move down to my quart jars, and this is my orange slices, my pear slices, my peach slices, my pear butter, my peach juice, and then right below it I have an apple shelf down here. You guys can't see. So down here we have the apple shelf, which is apple jelly and applesauce, apple slices, and apple pie filling and apple butter. So this is my quart shelf of my apples. You'll see here on the ends I've got just some random empty jars, filling up those spaces because I don't really know or how it's going to function as of yet for me storing empty jars and using them for my continuous preservation methods. So I'm just kind of filling in the spaces right now. Down here I have some dried goods. I do have my half-gallon peach slices down here on the end. And then I've got some miscellaneous dried beans that I have vacuum sealed in jars. And a couple of dehydrated things. Now, dehydration is not my favorite thing to do. So I don't have a whole lot of dried food items that were dehydrated, other than dried beans and my rices and some herbs. Right here, I skipped this portion, but this is my shredded pineapple tromboncino, so pineapple squash, and then I did some chunks. So I've got chunks and shredded pineapple tromboncino squash. Okay, so moving on to this side, my fruit jar is right here in front of me. Moving on to this side, oh, one thing I wanted to tell you, that the fruit shelf is actually 2 shelves deep, so it's 36 inches deep, and I did that just because I knew I was going to have a lot of fruit to put up there, but I'm thinking that I don't really actually need it. I thought about it, putting it too deep so I could go straight back with my storage and not have to double or triple my rows. But I am seeing now, since I have put it together, I may not need that. So I may actually take that double shelf out, or I could put my extra jars back there that I'm not using. I'm still trying to figure that out. So over here, this is my vegetable and meat side. So over here, this very top shelf up here, you guys can barely see. This up here is my canned greens, my kales, my broccolis, cauliflowers, radish tops, anything green from my brassicas or root vegetables, excluding carrots, that I can. This is what I put up there, and I do have this in a video for my southern canned greens. On the shelf below it, I have all of my carrots. I have sliced carrots, rainbow carrots, brown sugar carrots. I believe that's it. So all of my canned carrots are on this shelf. Down here, I have my squash relish. And then I have 2 variations of cucumber relish. I have this one, which is a sweet pickle relish. That is just of the green variety. And then I have one here that is a little bit lighter. You can see the difference. I don't really know why. But this is kind of like one of the old-fashioned relishes, and this is the recipe out of the Ball book. That just, it didn't get too dark green like the old-fashioned ones you usually see. But I have enjoyed both of these. Now see, this one is a lot thicker than this one. This is a little more runny. So it's just all an opinion of what you want to use. I do have both. Alright, my next shelf here is my dill pickles. These are the ones from this year. I told my dad, I said I will never need cucumbers again except for fresh eating until Jesus comes back, because this whole shelf all the way down to here are dill pickles. I don't even know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 32 quarts of pickles. We don't even eat dill pickles a whole lot, but I had them and I wanted to go ahead and just get them all made up and stored for the future. Let me see if this will help the lighting. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. Back here I have spears. So I have dill spears back here in the back. So this is my dill shelf. The whole thing is dills. Right below it here I have my lard and my canned okra. And that's not going to be something I do much of. I'm probably just going to do another method of that. I also have pickled okra. Have a little bit of that. We don't eat that a whole lot, but I did want to try my hand at doing it. And then I have sweet pickles. This is a cooked sweet pickle, and you'll see, let me get the light off of it. You'll see that it's darker than these. This is the way you make your lime sweet pickles, and you cook them, and this is not cooked. And I prefer these a lot more over these. This is what I grew up on, but I do cut these a little bit thicker, and I don't cook them. I let the processing cook them instead of this. So you can see the difference. These are still crispy, but they're a lot softer than these. So again, it's all in preference. All right, moving down here. These are my white potatoes that we grew, and I needed to go ahead and just get them preserved up. So I did them in chunks. You can use these as mashed potatoes, or you can fry them in the air fryer to make crispy potato chunks. Right beside it, all of this is chicken broth. I have my pints here and my quarts over here. So all of this is chicken broth. Right below it, I have sweet potatoes. So that's pretty self-explanatory, sweet potatoes. And then over here, I have green tomatoes. Now, these are my green tomatoes. And this was, I kind of cleaned out my garden and had a whole bunch of green tomatoes and wanted to can them. I didn't have time to make salsa verde or try out other recipes or whatever, so I just canned them. So I don't know that we're actually going to eat them this way, other than I may try frying them up in my okay dish. Other than that, I may just dump these out, make salsa verde, and then reprocess them. So one more thing down here on the bottom. These are my 5-gallon buckets. This is my einkorn, my rice, some of my beans, all-purpose flour. This is where I keep my bulk storage, and then I refill those square red and clear containers inside in my working pantry from here. So I come out here and fill those buckets up, take them back inside, and then just keep these full at all times. Okay, let me see which side actually shows better. Okay, we are in tight spaces here. This is only meant for me, not for me and the camera. Up here, I have all of my dried herbs, my medicinals, just anything dried, any of my dried herbs. These two shelves are my tomato shelves. I have tomato eggplant, tomato bacon jam, tomato butter, tomato sauce, tomato and eggplant sauce, and my yellow pear sauce. My yellow pear sauce back here in the back. That lighting is a little bit better. Okay, so now you see my tomato bacon jam, sauce, tomato, eggplant, and yellow pear. Down below it, this is all of my spaghetti sauces, my tomato juices, my ketchups, and my salsas. Right below it is my green beans and my pink-eyed peas. Okay, I had to swap to over here. The lighting is not good in here for a video, but we will make it work. This is what I call my meat shelf. So these are my peas and my green beans you guys just saw. This is my meat shelf. Now here we've got our pints and quarts of my daddy's stew that he cans, or he makes and we can. This is some leftover chili that I made a big pot of and went ahead and canned up the excess. And from here on back, I have some canned deer stew meat or beef stew meat. It's kind of a variation of both. And then I have fish. I have canned catfish. And then before we moved, I got out a 24-pound turkey and I canned a bunch of turkey up. So that way we didn't have to, sorry. So that way we didn't have to move the turkeys in the freezers or in coolers. I just went ahead and canned them so we didn't risk losing them in the move. It did make it a little bit easier. Now for you new canners that are dipping into all of this world of canning and preservation, I do have some canned water. Now you can, whenever you are learning how to pressure can, water is the best thing to can, just to get your feet wet and learn how to pressure can. But you can also use these as space fillers. If you have something that you want to can, but you have, say, how many pints they hold? 9. If you have like a 16 quart, you have 9 pints, or it holds 9 pints and you only have maybe 6 or 7 pints, you can actually use a couple of these little water jars just to sit in there and fill up those spaces so they don't move around and rattle and cause any breakage in your jars. Just an idea. So you can actually learn how to can water, or can using just water. You can store this up because it is now sterile, and you can use them as fillers. So I keep a couple of these just down here on the bottom shelf, and I just use them whenever. So let me show you now the shelf over there. That is my store-bought shelf. All right, again, tight spaces. So this is just kind of a random shelf. I'm sorry you guys can't see too well. This is just a random shelf. The main thing I want to show you guys is actually in the bottom. So the main purpose of this shelf, of course, is to hold some of my canning supplies up there. I've got pectin, lime, salt, some jellos and stuff like that. Just kind of some random boxes. But these last 2 shelves here, I have random cans that I purchased at the store that I might have, you know, thought we needed just in case. Because one thing I don't do is canned corn. So I do buy canned corn. And the rest of it, I do can myself, or I can myself. You can buy dried beans. You can actually can those. Pinto beans, kidney beans. You can buy all of those dry, which I have. You can actually can those, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing this year. Some other items down here, like carrots, I do can those. Sometimes I just like to use those a little bit better in certain recipes. There's black-eyed peas, which I have pink-eyed peas. So some of this stuff is just, like I said previously, to use in other people's foods that I fix for them. Or just kind of a quick grab and go kind of storage. Now, this is my stand-up freezer. This is my meat freezer. This is where we have all of our deer and chicken and turkeys. And then I have this cooler over here, this freezer over here, which is more for our quick storage. Like Emma makes rolls, and so this is where her rolls go before they are delivered. I have some squash in there because I don't can squash except for the pineapple squash that I have here. I don't can squash. We usually just eat that fresh, or I do dehydrate some, but I've got other plans for squash that I'm going to be doing pretty soon. So it does have like shredded zucchini, some of my broccoli flowerets, just kind of some random stuff that I don't actually can, that we prefer either fresh or frozen. Okay guys, so that wasn't the best lighting for a pantry tour. I didn't actually expect it to be that dark, because whenever you walk in there, it's actually kind of bright, but camera does weird things. So anyway, so now you've seen my kitchen pantry, my working pantry inside of the house, and you've also seen everything I store outside. Now, to make it a working pantry that is functional, I do like to do my shopping out here, take what I am using for the week back inside the house, and kind of keep this pantry working my kitchen, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how we're going to roll for a little bit. Now, I do have some new ideas on what I'm going to be canning and how I'm going to rotate the garden and my pantry seasonally, which I'm hoping instead of growing everything every year, that I can grow enough of a few things, minus the exception of for fresh eating, like, you know, 1 or 2 tomato plants for fresh eating. But I'm okay on green beans, so I'm going to exclude green beans from this year's garden and grow more of something else. Say like grow more tomatoes, because I do need to restock some juice. I do have some new recipes, like you didn't see any enchilada sauce. I actually have enchilada sauce that I make. I want to do a sloppy joe sauce. I've got a list of things inside. that I want to add to my pantry that we actually buy occasionally, but I would like to go ahead and make it and have it on the pantry shelves instead of buying it. So I've got that list that I'm going to go buy, and I've got an idea of how I want to rotate my garden items to where I can grow more of one thing and then can enough for 2 or 3 years. And that way I don't have to grow everything every year and keep doing different recipes, because if you have to can green beans and can peas and do all these different tomato recipes every single year, you can get burnt out. I'm not doing that to avoid it. I'm doing it to make it easier. So say if I grow a whole bunch of green beans and can them up for the next 2 years or so, then I can do a bulk canning session and not wear myself out. And I can do my tomato products to where I can can up a whole bunch of ketchup and do one big batch there, and I can do one big batch of something else, and it all be tomato products, to where I'm not having to constantly rotate all of my dishes or all of my equipment, because there's different equipment that you use sometimes for different items. So I'm trying to minimalize how I process everything and not wear myself out processing so much stuff every single year. So that's an idea that I have that I kind of want to maybe try out. Since I've got so many pickles and I've got so many green beans, I'm okay this year on growing those, except for maybe one plant of cucumbers for fresh eating or sharing with friends. Or if I want to get into market gardening, I can do that. I won't have to worry about putting them up for pickles. Then I can, instead of growing green beans, I can grow another variety of a pea or a bean and then put those up enough for a couple of years or something like that. So that's just an idea that I have that I'm going to start implementing, as you'll see in my garden videos coming up this year, to see if that's something that will help my family out, especially me, since I'm the primary processor in the kitchen, to go ahead and get all of these items stored up in my pantry. So if you guys have any ideas, some things that I might could add to the pantry, or what do you have extra in your pantry that I may not have? You know, share some ideas with me and comment down below. So welcome to the first official pantry tour of 2023 ever that I've ever done. So now you guys see where everything is, you see what I have, and we've talked about the changes coming for this year. So this is a big combo video for you guys. But anyways, I'm going to get back inside, and we will see you on the next one, and I hope you enjoy this pantry tour. Take care, guys. Bye.